Hey everyone, AquaTwist here. Welcome back to I Spy, the series where I analyze the UI of video games. News flash. After the Switch 2 Direct, Nintendo posted even more info about their upcoming console, including pre-order details and pricing structure. But the most surprising thing of all was a brief overview of the main menu interface. So today, I wanted to briefly analyze this screenshot and compare it to my own mock-up I made before. Let's see what I predicted right, what I got wrong, and if there are any lingering questions we still have. Unfortunately, it appears the Switch 2 will feature the same basic white background as the Switch 1. As I predicted, the hierarchy and layout of elements are exactly the same as before. However, the battery icon has been rounded out, more closely resembling the one used on iOS devices. The Joy-Con icon indicating the current controller player 1 is using is changed to match the design of the Joy-Con 2, which are taller and more curved. Interestingly, the controller's button in the quick access panel still uses the original Joy-Con vector. This being a reused asset was likely done to indicate that original Joy-Cons will still work on Switch 2, which Nintendo confirmed recently on their support website. Game icons now have slightly rounded corners instead of the squares used for the Switch 1, a subtle change which easily differentiates this newer console from the original. Looking at the quick access section on the bottom of the screen, this one has the most changes compared to the original Switch's UI. There are 3 new buttons here. First, there's a C button icon, which represents Game Chat. Game Chat is the new social feature of the Switch 2, where you can screen share your games and voice chat with up to 12 players online, similar to Discord. Placing Game Chat next to the Nintendo Switch Online button fits perfectly, as these will be some of the most frequently accessed menus of the console. It's funny that my predictions of in-game voice chat and a social feature both came true, yet were combined into one button instead of being separated into 2. But while we're here, there's one unique thing about Game Chat I wanted to point out. When watching a person's stream, there's an option to view product information with an eShop bag icon. This is a genius addition that will incentivize people to discover and expand their gaming libraries. I wish Discord implemented a feature like this. Imagine when discovering a new indie game you've never heard of, you can check out its Steam page to wishlist or directly purchase it. The less amount of clicks it takes you to get to where you need to go, the better. Next, there's a download icon to represent, well, downloads, which the Wii U had in its menu. As games will have higher download sizes compared to the Switch 1, incorporating this button on the main menu is a necessity. Perhaps the way you're downloading is getting overhauled too. Maybe you can download things in the background while playing an online match of Smash Bros, instead of having to use the offline modes only. And finally, there's a game cartridge icon for Virtual Game Card. For those who don't know, Virtual Game Card allows you to share your digitally purchased games with people inside your NSO family group or other systems. Although it was announced at the tail end of the final Switch 1 Direct as an update, it will likely be prioritized more for the Switch 2, especially as Game Share, exclusive to the Switch 2, will allow groups and families to play the same games together. The news icon was changed to use a newspaper icon with a cup of coffee, arguably a more universally viewed symbol of checking the news than the speech bubble icon in the Switch 1 menu. The icon was changed from red to green, differentiating it from the rest of the buttons. I predicted this color change with Nearby, but the icon sadly is more boring than the one I designed. The rectangle can also be interpreted as a phone screen, the current mainstream source of information, especially among younger generations. As a result, this icon has a timeless design, which can be understood between older and newer players alike. The quick access buttons are no longer separated into individual circles, being all grouped together in one panel like the PlayStation 5. This panel is slightly smaller too, so if more buttons get added as the original Switch did over its life cycle, there's enough screen real estate to avoid being cut off by any pop-ups. Looking at the buttons themselves, when hovering over an element, instead of the simple blue color, a window-style pink-blue gradient is used. It also rotates around the circle instead of just blinking back and forth. This is likely implemented to add more clarity for interacting with the different buttons. We also got a brief look at the system settings menu, which discussed the different resolution options available. The Switch 2 can now support 1440p, or wide quad high definition, as well as 2160p, more commonly known as 4K. The settings menu itself remains mostly unchanged. TV settings has been changed to display, and is grouped together with Mii, Amiibo, themes, and notifications. Hopefully this gets put at the top of the list of settings. It was always annoying scrolling down to the bottom to adjust my screen size a few notches when switching monitors. And that's everything we know about the main menu of the Switch 2 so far. I'm interested to see this more in action over the next couple months. But that's not all. We got a sneak peek of the revamped eShop menu that will be on the Switch 2. The iconic orange color scheme of the eShop is no more, being replaced with the red forward branding introduced with the Nintendo Switch. It's the end of an era, and I'm sad to see it go, but this change ties the eShop more closely with Nintendo's branding itself. Digital will be pushed more heavily this console generation, like it or not, especially with the game keycards for certain games and outrageous physical prices. What the f***? But thankfully, the eShop interface is significantly better than what we had on the original Switch. Wishlist is now a main option, instead of being buried inside your profile menu. Featured titles is now at the top of the list, which makes sense as it is the front page of the eShop itself. The 4 key options use a larger font than the rest of the list, and feature distinct symbols. From a screenshot on the Japanese website, we got a look at what the featured titles page will look like. Switch 2 exclusive titles will have a large red banner with the console logo on top, easily differentiating them from backwards compatible Switch 1 games. This also confirms that the library of the original eShop will be carried over, where you can purchase digital copies of Switch 1 games directly on your Switch 2. It's nice to see Nintendo copying other companies for once, as Sony does this when buying PS4 games directly on the PS5 marketplace. Next, take a listen for a second. All of these sound effects are brand new and are incredibly satisfying. The added reverb adds some spice to the audio experience. There's also the new Game Finds for You, a weekly compilation of screenshots and videos from games which players might be interested in buying. It's a nice take on the For You trend dominating social media platforms like TikTok and YouTube, and I love the concept. It refreshes every week, and you can directly add a game you like to your wishlist by pressing X. Hopefully whatever algorithm Nintendo is using pulls in some indies and lesser known titles too, and doesn't just grab AAA or first party titles. But sadly, game pages use a unified color scheme to match the eShop branding, instead of having different color backgrounds and page text. Remember when YouTube gave you all of these cool customization features for your channel, then took them away? That's the same disappointment I'm feeling here. The font is thicker, so the titles and fonts will be easy to read, so that's nice I guess. There's also no background music again, as we heard from the previously mentioned clip. What is it with Nintendo not wanting us to hear catchy tunes like we did during the Wii U and 3DS era? Shopping shouldn't be this boring, damn it. Thankfully, Nintendo has assured us that the eShop can, quote, run smoothly even when displaying a large number of games, according to the Switch 2 interview on Ask the Developer. With a UI overhaul, I have great faith that I'll be a regular to the eShop now, despite being a physical collector. Overall, I'm a bit disappointed with the direction Nintendo is going for the Switch 2 menu, though that is to be expected. The minimalist design created a snappy user experience which over 150 million people have gotten used to for over 8 years. Changing this pace would only frustrate players, and Nintendo wanted to be more safe than sorry. Sadly, this means nearly all of the new features which I predicted, from Street Pass to a zoom toggle, are nowhere to be found. Yet there's hope for themes to be added, and there's still a bunch of information we don't know about yet. No matter what, I'm sure the games will more than make up for the lackluster UI. Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza both look incredible, and I'm pumped to be playing them this summer. But what do you think of the updated UI? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to see more Switch 2 and Game UI content. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.
Objection!